somebody asked me last night, sitting in the canteen, well, why wouldn't you report it? And I said, well, let me ask you this. If you were raped by a man, would you report it? And he goes, now that you put it that way, I probably wouldn't.
I'm Jimmy Bruce, president of Eastern Gateway Community College. We're proud to sponsor this thought-provoking interview series with community leaders who, through perseverance and determination, are being who they want to be and making a difference in the Mahoning Valley.
Let's talk a little bit about your journey. You grew up in Washington State and you enlisted right out of high school.
I was at basic training 10 days after graduation.
And you don't come from a military family.
I do not. My father did not serve in the military. He had a brother that served in World War II, and one of my uncles on my mother's side served in World War II. But that was it. My family came from a bunch of Oklahoma farmers.
So what made you want to enlist at that time?
I had been an exchange student between my junior and senior year. I was in Sweden. I lived on a farm. Not totally socialist, but a lot of socialist type programs, free health care. This was back in the 70s, so this, free health care for everybody. Their medical was all socialized. Mm-hmm. I lived on this farm and I'm looking around and I don't see any cash crops. Wheat or corn or soybeans. They're growing hay to feed their animals and a vegetable garden. And they have maybe a dozen milk cows and a couple of pigs. And I'm thinking, and they live pretty nice. So I don't know if they're subsidized or, I really didn't understand their program. But when I came back, I knew I wasn't ready to go on to junior college, which is what would have been my path living there, going to Grace Harbor Junior College. And to me, that was like transferring high schools, and I just really wasn't ready to do that.
Did you want the adventure?
I did. I like traveling. When I was in Sweden, on the way there, I flew to New York City by myself and found my way from the airport to Grand Central Station to the hotel, by myself at 18, or 16 rather.
Wow. And
it was kind of wild, and it was very empowering, so to speak. I was like, I can do this. And we spent a few days in Denmark at the end of our tours. We all came back together. Most of my group was in either Scandinavia or Denmark. So we all met back in Denmark. So it was a very exciting time. And when I came back, I was just like, I'm ready to move on. Mm-hmm. And the Air Force gave me an opportunity to travel. I knew I was going to have a roof on my head, 3 meals a day, and get paid. So I thought, well, I'll try it. If I don't like it, I can get out after the 6 years. So.
And you liked it?
I did. I loved it.
It wasn't all good.
No.
And lately in the news, we've seen the spotlight being put on sexual assault in the military. Tell me how you were impacted.
I had a lot of issues initially. I worked with some very wonderful people who saw there was a problem, got me the help got me in to see a psychologist for a few months before I transferred to the Philippines.
So you were assaulted by a fellow
I was, yes,
officer.
by another airman that I had been in school with, and because it was the 70s, and I don't know if people remember back that far, but if you didn't get attacked in the alley, by a stranger, that wasn't rape. Date rape wasn't a thing. Acquaintance rape wasn't a thing. Well, if you know them. And quite frankly, at that time, women made up less than 2% of the military. Mm-hmm. So the common saying was, you're either looking for a husband, you're a whore, or you're a lesbian, and let's see which one you are. It was not a fair assessment on their part. I think it was bad judgment on their part. But
did you report it?
I did not, because.
And most women didn't.
No, you don't, and even the VA recognizes that if you have issues with, resulting from military sexual trauma, and you apply for disability, you're not required to have reported it.
So has it come a long way since then?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you'll see it's reported a lot more, but there's still that stigma there because, you know, it's like telling, but it's not just, you know, somebody asked me last night, sitting in the canteen, well, why wouldn't you report it? And I said, well, let me ask you this. If you were raped by a man, would you report it? And he goes, now that you put it that way, I probably wouldn't. You know, because of they're always looking at you. It's not, you know, especially in the military, it's not a, you know, it's like, what did you do? You know, it's not.
Did you ever think of quitting, leaving?
No, absolutely not. I am not a quitter. That just kind of pushed me forward more to, you know, I'll succeed, you know, despite what happened to me.
Your granddaughter's in the National Guard.
Yes.
Have you told her this story? Have you had this discussion with her?
Not totally. I mean, she knows something happened, but we've talked about it, and I told her that, you know, she needs to, if something happens, she needs to at least tell me about it, you know, and then we'll decide what to do. But she's, you know, for 4'10½", she's pretty strong, and she doesn't take grief off of people. And so I think, and she knows to get help when she needs it. I'm not going to tell any stories on her because that's not my business, but she's, you know, she's doing fine. She's doing fine.
What do you think the most pressing issues are right now facing the ranks in the military?
Right now, I think the number of deployments that they're asked to do, it just seems like over, you know, you go for a year and then you come back and you may be back for a year and then you're going again. It's a lot of pressure on your family. It's a lot of pressure on you, you know, living in a foreign country, you know, where you may or may not speak the language, where you may or may not understand the local politics or religion. It can be a real strain and very stressful to be living under those conditions, not knowing who's your friend and who's your enemy.
I'm Jimmy Bruce, president of Eastern Gateway Community College. We're proud to sponsor this thought-provoking interview series with community leaders who, through perseverance and determination, are being who they want to be and making a difference in the Mahoning Valley.